got one question for you. Are you ready?
Hey, what is going on, everybody? It is that time again. We are at Tasty Licks Music with another amazing guest. We got Queen of the Static Opera coming into the house tonight. We are so excited. Her name is Melody. She is out of LA, right? Out of LA. So we are so excited. How you doing, Melody?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing really good. Yeah, doing good. I will tell you this, that it is stormy in Arizona today, and I'm hoping to avoid any interruptions, but, James got it. James got my back. So I'm going to, yeah, it's a stormy night. So how is it in LA? What's the weather like in LA today?
Well, I'm actually visiting my mother right now, so I'm actually in Minnesota, but
that's cool.
Or not, I'm going to be back there soon, though.
There you go. So Minnesota. Nice. So are you a big Minnesota Viking fan?
No, I don't care about
Nothing wrong with that. You know what's so funny is that when I was growing up, my parents are musicians as well. And so growing up, my parents were like, we don't watch football in this house. So if you want to go watch it, you got to go watch it somewhere else. So
was that the rebellious thing for you?
It was. And then I, fell in love with, also my stepdad was really into football. So I lived for a long time with those folks. So yeah. So I got a little bit of that sports. I got a little bit of everything, you grow up with musicians, you grow up with people in the military. It's always interesting. So, you know what? We are going to, of course, you know what? I didn't ask James. How are you doing, buddy? How are you doing?
Fantastic.
I want to give a good update. So let's tell us about the update on the roof. We just had some really positive stuff. We did a huge charity for Chef here, and we were able to tell us the update, buddy.
For those that are just going to chime in, so the reason why we kind of were raising money on the roof is my wife, girlfriend's wife, we were together for 16 years. She passed away unexpectedly, and so we kind of ran into some speed bumps, and financially we had to replace the roof and had to come up with $11,000 and in like a 3-month period, and we actually are about to cross that. So we got about 500 left, another payday, and we'll be set. So we'll be good to go. Just gotta wait probably to the end of the month, and we should be good. It's kind of running tight right now, but we should have it good to go.
Yeah, and I think that Melody has jumped off again. But that's okay. She'll come back because I know that she was having some of those intermittent. There she is again. We'll get you back in.
Just went out.
There you are. No worries. So you know what? We've had worse. We used to have, when we first started, we were so new at this, and we must have jumped off a million times in the middle of our streams or had audio issues. So no worries. We're just happy to have you in, Melody. We are just really happy to have you in. But you know what time it is, everybody? It is time for some dessert and food talk. Melody, you are in Minnesota. I know that you were thinking about dessert. Did you bring some? I know you're out and about, or at least we can talk about your favorite dessert.
I actually brought a chocolate croissant, which was just a random selection because I don't have a favorite dessert, to be honest.
That's still really good.
Very delicious, yes. And I usually, since moving to LA, try to eat really healthy and clean. So when I got to buy these, I think I ate most of them except for one already. So I'm gonna have to try this out.
Well, good. Well, you're home, and that's what home is about coming back and having some of that comfort food. Totally get it. So chocolate croissant. Where in Minnesota? Are you up in the like upper part of Minnesota? Or are you down? Where are you at in Minnesota?
Well, I'm from the Twin Cities, so I'm in
Okay.
St. Paul right now. I'm
Cool.
just visiting.
Awesome. Very cool. So that is a beautiful state, by the way. I absolutely
Oh,
love.
It definitely is.
Yeah, very.
It's like
Yeah, very. Right. So that's very cool. Chocolate croissants. And is that from a particular bakery or something that you're like, hey, this is my favorite place to go to for those type of things, or give a shout out to the just the grocery store?
Yeah, I got mine from Target. Shout out to Target.
Shout out to Target. It's a fine French store where they sell croissant.
Croissant from Target.
Yeah, sorry about that. I did not think to go to somewhere cooler.
You brought something really cool, and it is from a French store, Target, and it is a croissant. So we are very happy. It's French, and it's chocolate, so that's even better. So I am going to be lame yet again. So everybody who knows, I am on a really big health kick, just like yourself, Melody. I have been on a Uber for the last 4 months, I think. On a huge health kick, I'm going to the gym as much as I can, making sure I have my rest days. But today I went and did leg day. And of course I have my own little mix of yogurt and berries and creatine and BCAAs and supplements inside of a nice drink. And I did bring something that I thought was kind of interesting. So I'm looking to boost my protein amount, and I don't like whey because it has some ill effects on me. So I went and we went to Costco and we got these Pacific Gold, and they're like really small little travel beef jerky things. Totally good for instant protein. Little salty, but I really think it's adding that right after a meet or right after a workout instead of going to a bar or something. That's what I've been going to. Feeling better, feeling good. So no kind of blah. That's been my life lately. I mean, we do go somewhere sometimes, but we did have a birthday in the house. So, and that was I don't even have anything good to say about the place we went to. It was I will say the worst steakhouse we've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah, it was one of those casinos. It was one of those casino steakhouses. We'd heard that it was really good and it had good reviews. And I think the people that went there must have had a different experience because we definitely didn't have that. So it's too bad. But it was Thursday of last week. It was Christy's birthday. So we had a good time, and we had good friends. I mean, that was always a good thing, is have good friends. That's what food's about, right? Nice. Connecting over food. So as always, though, the chef is in the house. We bow down to the chef. He has brought us something. He has been surprising us with home cooked stuff and then sometimes just bought stuff. So
I don't have I forgot the recipes actually in the car, so I don't have them off the top of my head. But actually, being that we had another raffle after the auction that we did, and I owe cookies as prizes and whatnot. So I made a bunch of cookies, and so that's what I have here today. Is some peanut butter cookies and some chocolate chip cookies. There you go.
And mind you, these are homemade. These aren't hey, I bought these at the store or something. He homemade flour.
Here's a bunch of them.
Oh man. This is the truth. This is the truth. I'm glad I live in Arizona, because if I lived anywhere near the guy, I would be so much more tempted to be just eating cookies and desserts. I mean, he is by far made.
So I have actually 3 of those boxes. So all those are going out to people. So
right on, man. That's such a cool thing, and the fact that we have really good updates. We're just extremely ecstatic. That's really good stuff. But you know what? We're here to talk to Melody. So let's talk to you, Melody. Yeah. So we have a couple food questions for you, really quick. Before going on stage, what is your go-to food?
I don't like to eat before I go on stage, to be honest.
Very true.
That's a good answer, because we know so many people.
I like to eat after, but what I could tell you what I could eat afterward.
There you go. What do you eat afterwards?
Typically, I'll probably buy something from if the venue has food. So maybe I'll have I don't know, a burrito, or usually a treat food, some pizza or something. Yeah, probably something Maybe something kind of plant-based, like if they have like plant-based junk food, I'll do that. I'm not actually strictly vegan or anything. I just eat like kind of like 80% vegan, like 20% not vegan. So I'm like a experimental vegan. I don't know. I can try it like that.
We call it the trying to eat healthy, but sometimes dips back into the into the other food. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm trying to get more sugar myself, but it's fucking hard. I love sugar and I just can't. And bread and all the things that aren't good. So, like good for you, I mean. So
well, you did grow up in Minnesota under this comfort food law. And I think that you while in Minnesota you get a pass because you are back home and you get all the pass. But the thing about it is that when you grow up around that food, it is comfort food. It's nice to be able to just get a nice piece of chocolate or cookie or something that just makes you feel good, Sometimes that's exactly what the doctor ordered, in my opinion. Sometimes
I find that I think when you eat less of them too, because I grew up on kind of eating unhealthy food, but when you eat less of it, it's more exciting to have it than when you actually have it. So it's kind of
more of a luxury, a reward.
Right. Yeah, totally cool. I love that. Yeah. We're talking over each other today.
Okay. I'm the queen of interrupting everybody, so if I interrupt you guys,
I know you're good.
Shut the fuck up. Can we cuss him?
No, because you are allowed to cuss. We are not. We are. I guess if I was into monetization, which we are nowhere near right now, we will someday. But yeah, I think you're supposed to worry about that. She's like, that's the whole Minnesota thing. You're stuck at home. Probably the internet goes in and out. So.
Signal, yeah, it's probably signal, bad weather, whatever.
But she sounds really, she sounds really good. So, yeah. So look at her back in. No worries at all. You're fine.
I guess I'll just keep leaving and coming back, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Well, she's like that.
As long as I come back, right?
Well, it's keeping the mystique. That's what it is. It's where did she go? We don't know. She could come back at any time. What is your go-to food on the road? What is your go-to food on the road?
What my go-to food on the road? Yeah, I'm not really sure. To be honest, I kind of eat the same things all the time because I spend so much time. I love food, but I'm really lazy and it's really hard because I'm not lazy, but I'm actually so busy doing other things that it's very hard to enjoy food usually. I don't know if that makes sense. So
totally.
Every day I literally just eat eggs and salmon and then some kind of carb, and I'll have I'll make a juice. Probably a juice, a smoothie. Yeah.
There you go. Smoothies are good.
Quick eating. I'm saying you really don't have enough time to kind of manage what you're eating. You're just I'll grab this because it's in there or it's readily available. Yeah. So it's just
you don't have time to enjoy it. I honestly think all the time about stuff I could do if I had more time to do it. But I am very strict with my time frame of how successful I want to be within this period of time during these years of my life. So I'm always go, and I don't get to just sit down and if I did, I'm pretty sure I'd get really elaborate and fancy with food, but maybe someday I will.
Well, this is the one thing that I'm going to say. I understand it because I can hear in your music how passionate you are in what you're doing with, because there's all this stuff that goes on in the music industry to make you so super busy that, having time for food and just sitting down with a good meal is probably difficult at times, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think if I was in maybe a more I don't know, if I was in a more if I was further along in my career, I'd probably have more time to do that. But because I'm not really where I want to be yet, I just don't have time usually.
Right. So let's switch tracks really quick and let's talk about your music. Now I'm going to say where I first caught you. I caught you on IG and Twitter, within probably the last year and a half or so. And absolutely love your music. I loved your Twitter show. You were playing a lot of really cool stuff. So then I'd reach out and say, hey, what's going on? And you just weren't there yet with the touring and some of the stuff with your music yet. So we were just like, hey, when the time comes, we'll be on, right? But I absolutely love your music. So talk to me about how you got into this and what is, yeah, some of the bio
I'm like, what angles? Then you fix it.
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry.
But where did you get your, yeah, there's angles. See, this is Queen of Static. She's just going to change angles on us. You never know. It's going to be Mystique. It's her Mystique, her persona. She's just going to be like, hey, here's a close up of my face.
I know, right?
But so I really started enjoying your music, and I want to hear where your music, what got you started into this process of creating. I would say we call it EDM. There's a specific genre, industrial music. I mean, kind of tell me a little bit about how you got into this and what you classify your music as.
I classify myself as being all over the place, I suppose. But if I were to say a couple of places, I'd probably be like, it's a mixture of maybe like dark wave, electronic kind of synth-based stuff, mixed with maybe industrial, I would say. Sometimes with other songs like leaning towards other things, and I don't know, I've kind of like always established Queen of Static Opera to like break all the rules, you know what I mean? To not be like, oh, you have to do this kind of music, like you have to do this. But it does happen to be like a lot of it gets kind of dark, and it's like there's always like noise involved, but it's not really noise music, and it's not really industrial, because industrial is like kind of more, I don't know. And like generally also with right now, I'm working on new material, and I'm actually having this kind of similar problem I always have before I make something, which is like, am I going to make this like more like rock, or am I going to make this more electronic? And that's always like what I'm going through, like ever since I started this project. So some combination of that, I guess.
It's definitely like a fun mix. Like when he came to me about you having a guest, having you as a guest, we were so used to having like, we had some country, we had some rock, we had some metal. So we never really kind of had somebody into like this mix. So even listening to it was, I mean, I've heard of like EDM, I've heard of it, industrial, I've heard of like that, like punkish type of sound, or whatever. It's like it's a unique kind of sound that just kind of keeps you guessing. Each song is like, what's this going to be? What's this going to be? What's this going to be? But I like the style of like how you put things and how like it's just put together well, just very well. So I think.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely all over the place. And I just remember I didn't actually answer the first part of his question. But how did I get into it? Well, my dad was a musician pretty seriously a lot of his life, and so was my mom. So I always grew up around music. My parents were in like a normal band, like with guitars and bass and no synths and stuff, like a more traditional kind of rock band. And I realized around when I was like 15 that I wanted to be like an electronic artist. When I found people, I started idolizing like Bjork and stuff like that. So yeah, and I started kind of producing. I already played guitar because my dad had taught me guitar. I always had a piano in the basement, so as a little kid I used to get up and just like play piano by ear. I obviously started writing songs when I was like really, really young, like probably not good songs, but I actually do remember some of my first songs, which is funny. But yeah, and when I met my I guess you call him my bandmate, met my bandmate, and we kind of started this in a serious way with my first EP, Spaceship, and that was like a couple years ago. But I'd always been making music prior to that. Like I just got a computer and I just started, making a bunch of demos. I'd post stuff on like SoundCloud, and eventually, like back when SoundCloud was relevant, and I was growing up, and yeah, and then now I'm working on new music and been playing shows, and people really like it, and always been really into social media and stuff. So it was really easy for me when like that when I grew up and suddenly it was like all the music industry was just on the internet, and I was like, oh, this is perfect for me because like I'm an internet person. So it was kind of like meant to be, I think, in that way. And yeah, I guess that's kind of where I got. Now I'm here. I did take some voice lessons also, I guess. I've left that out. So I took some guitar lessons, I took some voice lessons. I never really took piano lessons in any way. But despite that, I play synth. So that's like kind of weird. But I still play guitar too. And then, but yeah, that's what I do.
I love it. I love it. And you know what? The fact is that it's the fact that you're also laying down these different types of tracks to be able to make this music. Because that's so people don't realize how hard EDM is or industrial or what you're doing to lay down tracks. Because you're laying down a voice track, you're laying down different beat tracks, you're laying down different background tracks. And it's not, it could be guitar, but a lot of it is sounds that go along with what you're creating. So it could be, I recorded, you do a lot of, I'm not sure if you do a lot of MIDI, but a lot of that stuff where it's like mixing tracks together and, you get some sort of like really cool sound, then you make a beat with it. And then you're adding more and more to give it more substance. And then you're adding maybe some vocals. But how are you doing this? So what does you go through your process of being able to, how you make your music most of the time?
It's literally, well, it's kind of different on every song, and I've changed how I do it over the years. So when I first started out, I was really focused on like the core structure of the song. So I would just literally like try to play a song with guitar or piano, and I'd write the vocal, and then we would just like go from there and like make the production would then go around that. But now I'm more, I don't know, as I've been working, like recently I've been making new music. And I've just been like kind of like I'll just like make a beat and I'll just like record kind of like a crappy demo over it. And I'll just save it and, work on it later. And then my bandmate will work on it and then we'll just like, that's kind of how we've been doing it lately. But we also would like jam in a room together, which is like the most basic kind of way to write something together. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So yeah, it really depends on the song too. Like some of my favorite songs have actually been just like really organic songs where you just kind of start out like playing something on piano and singing, you know what I mean? Or something on guitar and just singing. But I've gotten more into just like sound. I've gotten more, I guess more, I don't know if I'm going more electronic or if I'm going to go back to like doing more stuff with guitars. So I don't even really know what to say, but like, so I guess it depends on the kind of song it is. But yeah, I mean, obviously like the electronic ones are more like get into a room and start playing like, especially like, like synths or whatever and have a beat and write a song over it kind of stuff.
Nice.
That's cool. Very cool.
When you're working on like new projects and stuff like that, what kind of draws what inspiration kind of draws you to make new projects or new songs or new whatever you're working on? Really, what kind of inspiration do you kind of go at or pull from?
What inspires me if I'm trying to make new music?
Yeah.
It's funny because I feel like I was almost better at like having over the top, like, or I guess rather like not over the top, having more like kind of hipstery aesthetic, like inspirations, like I read this book and blah, 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 blah. I used mythology. I used something like that.
I like that. That's cool. That is cool. Oh, and she could be coming back. She's spinning. Oh, she's back on the other screen. Okay, we'll remove that one. And then we're gonna go. There you are.
Magical. Anyway, I'm gonna. What was I gonna say? So yeah, really, it just I don't know. It kind of. Fuck. What was I talking about? What was the last question?
What was inspiring you? What inspires you?
What inspires me?
So yeah, back in the day when I first started writing music, I say back in the day because I've just been doing it for like since I was like a little kid. Like I would more try to come up with like elaborate inspirations where now when I write, it's more it's more other, I mean, it's probably more just like, obviously when you get like their influences, like you hear somebody and you're just like, wow, I want to make music that sort of reminds me of this soundscape. I really like how they're doing so this. I like these people's vocals. I really appreciate, this. So really, I guess like other artists, but also like obviously emotions and experience and whatnot. Really, it's kind of just about getting in a certain zone too and just playing music and liking what you play. And just being like, oh, I like this. I'm gonna keep going with it. As basic as it gets, but yeah.
Oh, that's a great answer. It's a great answer. What musicians inspire you?
I have a lot of them, to be honest.
Right.
Do you mean right now or just in general?
Like right now, like you could say like your top 5 musicians that have inspired you over your life to make the music that you do.
Okay. Probably PJ Harvey, Bjork, Tori Amos, Nine Inch Nails, and
Nice.
Tool. I don't know, like some
Yeah,
of that
Tool.
stuff. Just like to use that to sum up like baseline metal and rock and stuff. But honestly, more from the kind of like I guess like electronic and that's the 90s stuff and 80s stuff. I kind of like I just like music too. Like the older I get, the more I appreciate if an artist is really good at what they do. Like even if it's not something I'm like gonna sit and listen to every day, but yeah. But I like trip hop a lot. I really like just generally anything like experimental noise. I think is really interesting.
Oh,
Damn.
good stuff though. Good stuff.
I love it.
Yeah, that whole Minnesota connection. There she is again.
This might be the fault of my Wi-Fi, and I'm sorry.
Don't even worry about it. We totally
Yeah.
understand. We had Wi-Fi issues for many a year. Well, Mr. James did. So yeah, no worries, no worries. We're just so happy to talk to you, honestly, Melody. It's been fun.
I'm glad.
Yeah. So what inspires you? Like, what musician, like right now, is like your hot thing? You're like, it's the new hotness. What is it that's really like, hey, that artist is going somewhere? Somebody that you've really listened to that really is giving you some, like, hey, that is some good stuff.
Would this be like new or old?
New stuff. New some new person that's come out that
I really
give a shout out.
I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's actually like I think he's like deep house or something. Zoo. I don't know how to say it in real life, but like it's really dope music though. Like it's very somber. It's not really, because I don't like EDM where it's like the kind of stuff you would hear at like an EDM festivals and actually what I listen to. I like really somber EDM that's very like, it's kind of like sexy and it's very like trip hop sort of.
It's kind of mystique or mystical.
Yeah, even like distorted, like there's like distortion over it and the beat is just like really intense. It's just like, but anyway, he's the one who did that song and I was like, I don't know, I'm not going to sing it right now, but yeah, that's what I'm liking. I'm not sure, I'm going to mispronounce his name because I've never heard his name spoken out loud. He did that song that was like Faded and Desire. It was kind of popular, I think.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, right on. Now, what I'm going to tell you that what I enjoy about your music is the following things. I'm a closet EDM lover. I play guitar. I'm an electric guitar player. I play guitar. I love guitar. I'm into 80s metal, very much into some of the 90s grunge stuff. I still like a lot, I like new stuff too, metal-wise and rock. But people don't know that I secretly have this love for EDM because of what is behind it. Now, it also goes back to 90s living in England during the rave scene. Rave just came out in the 90s. I spent a week in Ibiza. You can't go wrong there. There's a lot of crazy times that I don't talk about. Ibiza, Spain in the 90s was crazy. Ibiza now is kind of crazy. Pre-COVID, I would say it was kind of crazy. But I absolutely love this type of music and especially yours, because you can tell that there's so much different mixes and it has so much variety. every song is totally like what James is saying is
That
so
is a good
different.
vibe. It's a good vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can relate to you on like the kind of like a guilty pleasure of liking EDM or techno or whatever you want to put it as, categorize it as. But like you just have like even if you're like, oh, I hate it, but then you hear something and you're like.
Yeah.
Like you kind of vibe with it, even though you're like, oh, 5 minutes ago you say you hated it. You know what I'm saying? You still like vibe with it. You know what I'm saying? But it's just that good vibe of, because I know metalheads and stuff like that, they actually do go to shows like EDM shows, techno shows, like they go to those stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I would go to them, but I mean, how it works. So.
No, I totally relate to that too, because like I'm actually somebody who grew up listening to like I definitely listen to some like pretty hardcore like just like noise like kind of like music and stuff too. But I'm really not into like the kind of like, I'm not a very like, what is the word? I'm not into like the kind of like elitism that typically comes with those genres where they're like, I don't like anything, that's shit, because it's so.
Right.
I'm not like that. To me, it's like what makes a good artist is to kind of like, be able to appreciate all kinds of like music for the most part. So yeah, I personally like, it's not really even like, I don't think of it as like EDM. I just like dance music. I like certain kinds of dance music. I like certain dance artists. That's more what it is for me, I guess. I like dancing. Yeah, too. That's part of it. I study dance. Like, so that's like the drum and like the bass. Like rhythm is really important for me. That's probably why I've never had like just like a full-on regular metal band, and probably never will, because I like it to have like a lot of rhythm, and that's like important to me. I don't know. I started out as a rhythm guitar player when I was like learning, so that's probably part of it too. Rhythm was like the first thing I learned.
That's all what it's about too. It's just making it your own and not following like. I mean, I know you have inspirations and stuff like that, but you still make it your own. You have put your little signature twist on it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like your own stuff, but it's like.
I think that's exactly what you're saying, is that it's, this is the cool thing about music, is that if you're passionate about it and you have something that you want to bring to the table from emotion, heart, whatever feelings, you can do that. And that's what I pick up in your music, that there is a lot of stuff behind, a lot of feelings, a lot of passion behind what you're doing. And to me, that's what makes good music, honestly. So if you have that, and I don't care if you're, you don't have anybody who can do that and do that well is totally in my, that's something that is really important. And to me, that's what makes good music. I think that's what you're saying, is that, you can listen to anything and get inspired by it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. Well, not everything. I mean, there is like good music and not good music, but like genre wise.
Yep.
She's coming back. She's coming back.
There we go.
Yeah, there she is.
This keeps happening.
Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it.
There's bad reception in this room, and it doesn't help I'm not in LA and my mom's internet thing is really not the best. If I was
okay.
in my house, this wouldn't be a problem, because obviously I'd live on the internet. But
yeah. At least your sound is good, because I've had where the Wi-Fi is so bad that the sound is so bad that you're like, I think we're talking to Roboto.
Oh yeah. No, I noticed that. I was looking through your channel. I think one of them like had kind of bad sound. I noticed. I was like, what's going on there? But it sounded like what you were referring to.
I know we try so hard, but it's just, nowadays you can't just get in the same room. It's so hard, because we would have to be in Minnesota right now. So we have the ability to talk to so many different musicians, and that's what we love, is being able to have this variety of people. We don't have to live in Phoenix or Florida or Cali to go do these musician interviews. No. But this is the price. The price is the internet is the internet, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it's like kind of like I think about this all the time. Like, I don't even necessarily have to be living in LA really to do this, but at the same time, it's more fun to live in LA to do it, because then it's like you meet more people in person, and it's just like cooler. You know what I mean?
I vibe. I'm a Cali vibe guy. I vibe with Cali. I totally get it. My sister's lived in LA for a long time. She's with a publicist at Jensen Publications in LA, and she loves LA. Just absolutely vibes with LA. And she lived in North Hollywood for a long time. and just, I mean, she just vibes with it. And when we go out there, it's just like so laid back, and there's such a good diverse amount of people that
Yeah.
it's always like, you know, this is a chill place. You can meet anybody at any time and have a discussion, and everybody's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's definitely like rough people out there, but I like it. I like the people. I love LA. Yeah. So I love LA too. I get it.
Yeah, totally get it. Where do you live in LA?
I live in Sherman Oaks, so it's kind of near Hollywood, West LA.
Yep. Totally know where it is. Yep. Just north of Hollywood. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so my sister was in North Hollywood forever, like like the stop right next to like the Universal Studios. Like she was on a mountain like and on the back lot of Universal Studios in that area.
That's
Kind of over, like if you kind of go towards the Hollywood sign, she was on that hill, like next to Hollywood Lake and stuff like that. So she lived like, I can't, she like one of those things where she'd like name drop the people that have lived in those houses like next to her, and I'm always like, that's crazy.
Wow. Great. No, I mean, there's tons of people. It's not. I'm not gonna say it's like easy to meet people out there, but it's definitely easier than anywhere else. I don't know.
Right.
A lot of really cool people. I really like finding.
Oh.
She's spinning.
She's spinning. She's gonna come back on the other screen because there she is.
Up the Wi-Fi. I'm so pissed off. Anyway,
Don't even worry about it.
but
So you're vibing with the people in LA, and so what is it? One of your favorite things to do in LA?
I like going to Bordner's in Hollywood. It's like the goth BDSM bar or whatever. I don't go for it for that reason. I more like just appreciate the aesthetic. I like going
Right,
there. I like eating. I like going to the beach. I just like going to see friends, I guess. There's like there's a lot of really cool things in LA, a lot of really cool restaurants, a lot of really cool venues and stuff like that. So yeah,
That's kind of my experience too, is that LA just has everything.
Busy, honestly.
I like Phoenix. You know, I've been in Phoenix for a long time. There's a lot of really good restaurants, but the vibe in Phoenix and Arizona is very, like, you don't know your neighbors, and it's just hot. People don't go outside much. LA, there's always, like, I remember going down to Griffith Park, and you can just, like, any given Saturday or Sunday, there's just people laying out, just enjoying the sun, enjoying being there. Just fun, you know. And there's all these little bars everywhere. I remember going down to downtown LA and get these foo drink, and then going to my sister's favorite bar that was next to her, and just hanging. You just chilling with some cool people, you know. I love that about LA.
yeah.
And
Definitely.
it has the ocean, you know. Ocean is really ultra cool.
Yeah, I like going to places where like important things have happened too. Like, oh, this is where blank happened. You know what I mean? Just like all the legends of LA. Like, this is the Roosevelt Hotel. Blah blah blah. I like going to haunted places also. So.
Yeah.
Me too. That's like my favorite thing. Do you like haunted places, James? That's cool.
Oh yeah, they have a I haven't been there in a while, but they have a thing in St. Augustine where you can do like a ghost tour. So that's pretty fun.
Honestly, there's so many fucking ghosts in LA. It's very haunted out there. So. It's seriously.
Well, you think about LA, there's so much that's happened in LA. There's the music scene, there's the movie scene, there's other industries that are there. There's so much going on in LA that it's just like a big pot of crazy. So of course there's going to be a lot of cool ghosts. What's the coolest, like, do you have a good ghost story from LA?
I have a lot of ghost stories, I guess. There was one. At one point, I was living in this Airbnb that was like very haunted, and the ghost used to wake me up like in the middle of the night all the time, and I would like think there was like a hand on my shoulder. I actually ended up having to move because it kind of stressed me out. So there's a lot of ghosts out there. It was kind of when I lived near this Hollywood graveyard where like Sharon Tate is buried, and like Ava Gardner, and like who was it, like all these old Hollywood stars, Bing Crosby, and like all those people. And one time I went over to the graveyard and was just being weird and hanging out at the graveyard. And I came back, and that's when like the haunting in my house like, got really potent, and like eventually I was not getting any sleep, so I had to leave. And my new place isn't haunted, so I like it a little better. Yeah, but it was interesting for sure.
I love that about LA. So, what's your favorite venue to play it at in LA?
My favorite venue to play at.
Yeah.
I mean, I always like playing at the goth clubs because the people that I'll play to typically will like the music. So that's a
Okay.
good plus because a lot of times, especially during the darker songs, certain kinds of venues, like when I played at like the Mint, for example, if it's like the people who wandered through that don't understand kind of like any, they're not into like strange sort of music, they'll usually kind of come up to me like, I kind of liked that, but like I don't know. Like I literally had somebody who like came up to me once and was like, I liked it, but like I don't know what that was. Like I could tell it was like a very normal person. It probably like only listens to like the radio or something, not the radio, whatever. Like normal music, like normal
Right.
music.
Mainstream, right.
A very mainstream person who was not used to being exposed to like the kind of thing I was doing. Like some of my songs are kind of, and like some of my songs are, I'd argue to say like close to being commercial, but some of them are just really not at all. So like live, when I'm like literally like, like crawling on the ground, like screaming and like singing some weird song about like killing someone, like people don't know how to take it in real life sometimes. But then goth clubs are like, oh yes, this is the shit, I love this, sing more about being choked. And I'm like, okay. Like, so yeah.
I love it. That's cool. See, then you found your people. That's the cool thing is you found your people. That's always good.
I mean,
Knowing.
yes and no. I feel like I don't fit in enough also because I'm not really like, I'm not good at like, you have to be like this. And the thing is with the quote unquote like goth community, which is like I could kind of consider myself part of, I suppose, is there's like a lot of rules, like kind of like metal, you know what I mean? Where it's like, you can't like this, you can't wear this. And for me as an artist, that's just like, I like what I like, and I'm gonna like whatever the fuck I like. Like, so whoever gets it, if you get it, cool. If you don't get it, I don't care. Like that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. Well, you made it for you, and that's the big thing is you're making it for you, and then you'll have an audience that somebody will get something out of it. And that's the cool thing as an artist. Somebody will get something out of it. So that's always awesome. And that's exactly what our experience was. We got something out of every song. I mean, it was really fun. And it was definitely like Killed on Camera. I thought that was a crazy song. I was like, that's crazy. But it's cool. The lyrics are cool. Where do you come up with the lyrics? I wonder about that. Like, are you like, did you watch?
The first video I got was the Warm Leatherette one. That was one I was turned on to first, and then from then.
Well, Killed on Camera is actually not my song. It's just a song I sung on. Well, I sang for it. That's a collaboration with Angel Spit, who is kind of like, they're big. Well, not big, but they're kind of like they're like a quite legendary underground industrial band. At least they're legendary.
Rolling.
Rolling on this river. She's gonna come back in another window, and then there she is.
I was like, it's going so well. It's not gonna glitch out. And then I'm sorry. They just keep
no worries.
back, and people will probably still listen to this anyway. Hopefully, I don't know.
They will, and then they'll just be like, she has mystique. She is so cool. She's like, she comes in and out. You never know when she's gonna come back.
Exactly.
So yeah, so you had it. So that person was written by another. What was the other song that you liked, Chef? What was the song?
Warm Leatherette.
That song is a cover, actually, of a Daniel Miller song.
Okay.
So neither of you brought songs. I'm just kidding. I'm sure you like all the other songs I wrote though.
I was like, so I'm gonna go back. So I've been listening to so I went to the gym today, and I was like, you know what? Her music is really good for working out too. I don't know if you knew that, but
No, I
it
didn't.
is. I was totally down for that workout. Okay, so I liked Killed on Camera. I got Delete, Delete, Delete. I thought that was really good.
That's my
actually.
song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like that one. And then Fatal Latex Girls.
Wrote
That was
I
good.
wrote all your songs. I don't know why I'm like stating it off. Like I need to.
Yeah.
Because the two ones that you were bring to me, one was a cover, and the other one was just like my friend Carl from Angel Spit song that he wanted to sing on. So.
Okay. So here's what I wanted to know. Lisa's Metamorphosis. What was that? What was inspired that song?
That song was inspired by like complete and utter darkness, heartbreak, and despair, to be honest. It's kind of about like killing your old self that's like filled with trauma and then being reborn. I wrote it after a really dark experience I had with my life, kind of like downward spiraling for like a year or two, in a bad situation and like drinking a little too much and stuff like that. So that's kind of what it's about. It's about like transformation, hence Metamorphosis. Yeah.
That's what that's what I kind of grabbed out of it. I was like, wow, that is an interesting song though, because you're always like, where does what inspires that? And then that's very helpful, because I think everybody has, and this is the one thing I relate with with songs is that I've had that same, like everybody's had kind of a dark period in their life. And then if they have had that experience, and I know I've lived a long time and I really am one of those thinker people. So I went from like, I think 40, I don't know if it was a midlife crisis, but that's when Andy became like Buddhist Andy and the spiritual awakening happened for me. And she's gone again, but she'll be back. She'll be back. That was the sign of Andy, you're talking too much.
No, you're good.
But I really totally get where you're coming from on that. And that's what I really like. I really, I like songs where you're showing a journey. That's what I really got out of that song. So I thought the same thing, but cool. Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah.
What's another song that you personally love?
That I did?
Yeah.
Honestly, the one you mentioned, Lisa, whatever, Lisa's Metamorphosis is actually my favorite one I've probably done. But the other one being, to be honest, probably Delete. I'm really proud of most of my material, actually. There's a couple songs I'm not a fan of, but most of it I'm pretty proud of. I love all the new remix, like the songs I added to because I did one EP and then I kind of like a remix EP, but like it has two of my old songs from my first EP on it, just like in slightly different ways. And then there's like a couple new songs on it, and one of them is like a borderline like horror hip hop song, and like the other one is like I don't know what the fuck the other one is like electronic Lana Del Rey or some shit. It's like meets like Kanye West. It's like all over the place, and I like everything I do, I guess. Probably Delete is more special to me because of what it was about, because it was also kind of about the same thing that I just mentioned for the previous song, which is like I wrote it to be like Delete and Metamorphosis is like they're supposed to be like story, like chapters in a story. So like when I wrote like 4 songs. Well, actually there's 5 songs. There's one other song called Venus on it. There's 5 songs and they kind of tell the story of this period of my life but there's like a fantasy version of me and there's like a real version of me. So there's like a real version of me that is going through this kind of like deep, dark transformation that ends up with me even being kind of like physically sick and like then like coming back to life kind of, and coming back as a new person to be like this like superhero version of myself. And then there's like this other kind of plot I had, like, which is like sci-fi and kind of based around this like alien thing I had going on. Hence like the name of the song was like this alter ego I came up with for that album. But yeah.
I love it. That's cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting to the end of the show. It seems like it just started, as always. But James, go ahead.
Very good. There are a few things to touch on. So one thing, like being that you grew up in like a pretty musical, and never mind. I will get back to you when you come back.
She'll be back. Do you know, though, this is the time where we're going to say that there she is. Go.
Right.
You're ready. Yay. Okay, go ahead and ask your.
Sorry, just real quick, real quick. So being you grew up in like a really musical like environment, how was that like growing up in that kind of a setting? You know what I'm saying? Your dad, even reading upon your dad and stuff like that a little bit, him mentoring like Prince and stuff like that, and just a lot. Just how was it in general? Just how the environment was being around a lot of that when you were a kid.
I think what it gave me is like most people think doing, music and any kind of large scale thing is just like a fantasy that's like impossible to achieve. Where like my father had achieved kind of like impossible things compared to a lot of people. So like he was always very like kind of encouraging of like, yeah, you could do this. And I've always grew up like around really authentic, like real artists. Like my dad had like a Billboard song and then kind of like made an artistic decision to like place himself around people that were like more artistic rather than like pop. So he's like very much one of those people, like he liked, he was like she's like a true artist. So being around that kind of like, I don't know, I guess like I'm a huge fan of like authentic real artists or people I deem to be like, these are like the best of the best kind of people. Like I love learning about their stories. I love learning about people who did big things because like they're iconic. Like if it's like Prince or like Madonna or like Michael Jackson or something, like really breaking those people's careers down is like really fascinating. So for me, like I have very high standards. It also kind of sucks because then you're like, oh, I really want to be really successful. And like, I'm not as successful as my dad was at this point because my dad had like a Billboard song when he was like 19. And I'm like, fuck, I don't know how to achieve that. I hope to achieve that eventually, but that's a lot to fucking live up to. So
still, I mean, if you're in the, what I'm saying, you're still doing what you're doing. You're still grinding. You're still working hard. So I mean, it can come whenever it's ready. You know what I'm saying? Like it can just be whenever.
Well, times are so different now too. Like there's no, like bands don't sign people not bands. Labels don't sign people anymore the same.
True. Very true on that.
Very true on that. We've had that discussion so many times about the, labels and yeah.
I'm working. Sorry, I'm back.
Now she has the croissant. Just out of nowhere.
I was like pissed off. Like, why
it's like, well, I'm down, my Wi-Fi is down. I'll just take a quick bite.
Ruining my vibe.
See, look at that mystique, like just out of nowhere.
Anyway.
A croissant flies into the mirror.
I'm back live.
So go ahead.
My point was what I was saying is, I don't know, it's a lot to live up to. But what I was going to say is like, yeah, it's changed so much. So what is successful? I mean, so like that being said, I'm sure if my dad had been like around this era, he'd probably just be like a popular internet artist, which isn't far off from what I'm doing. So things are different now. The music industry is entirely online. It's not really the same.
You can be your own label. You don't have to have a signature from somebody. I mean, somebody can sign you, but like right now, you can just do whatever you want as long as you're on the internet, SoundCloud, Spotify, all that stuff.
Well, there's pros and cons, and there's so much information about like bad label deals and things you can get into.
Yeah.
Just like taking up, you're basically like, I'm going to put myself into debt for this label that might promote me. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much now. There's a lot of people. So I don't know. It's kind of smarter. I'm hoping if I got a good deal, like if I got a good offer, I'd probably sign. Technically, I'm distributed through AWOL, which is owned by Universal Music, but I don't really get like all the promotion and everything about it. Is just me really and whoever I have working with me. So, yeah, I don't know. Different times.
So I have a question from Russ. Says, do you have a song that did better than what you anticipated?
Sorry, say that again.
It's one of the questions from the chat says, do you have a song that did better than what you anticipated? Like when you released a song, like did you think that it wasn't going to do as good as it did, or?
I don't know. People love Warm Leatherette, like that cover so much, and I did not think it was gonna. I didn't think it was gonna get any traction. I mean, it literally got like the guy who like wrote the song was this guy from Mute Records. He like literally posted it on the label's page, which is like this huge label, and I'm like, I just wasn't expecting any of that. So probably that song still, I get messages about like that song specifically all the time. Like, I guess it's maybe the thing people really like. People just really like my cover of it. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
I also read too so did you ever get a chance to write an album or song with Sharon Tate in mind? So you said that you lived like not far from her grave.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, I actually have this weird, delusional, crazy vision that I might be the reincarnation of Sharon Tate. So all of them.
Wow.
I know it's crazy. No, I think though, I feel like maybe I am, but that's just also like, I know it's totally illogical and stupid. So
No,
No,
you're allowed to
no.
believe whatever you want to believe. And
It's not stupid at all. You do what you want to do.
yeah, you can. There we go. She's gonna come back on the other screen. Hang on.
There's definitely a lot of people that. Oh, there it is.
There it is. The croissant.
It's
Yeah.
like Wi-Fi croissant break.
I don't know if it's serious. I like to play with the idea that I'm maybe the reincarnation of Sharon Tate, but no, I love all Hollywood stuff. So yeah.
That's
Nice.
cool though. I mean, yeah, that's cool. No, Sharon Tate was actually that's an interesting, very interesting story. A very interesting story. So
And my
Yeah.
dad grew up in North Hollywood, so he went to school with like a few celebrities and stuff,
yeah,
like
that's cool.
Michelle Pfeiffer and stuff like that. So
That's cool.
yeah.
That is cool. So we are going to wind down so that she can go eat her croissant and go visit her with her mom and not worry about internet connections anymore.
I need to try this. And yeah, I'm worried it's going to drop out. I just feel bad about it.
No worries. This is
No.
totally fine. But I will say this, that we've really enjoyed talking to you. Is there anything that's coming up for you that you would like to promote really quick, and maybe some shows that you got coming up?
Yeah, I'm doing shows at Harvard and Stone in Hollywood. There's a new like monthly goth adjacent night that I'll be performing at. It's being hosted by Princess Superstar, who's like she's like a big rapper. I don't know if you've heard her. But yeah, and she's hosting the goth adjacent night. So there's that, and I'm working on new music. I actually think I might come out with a podcast soon. But
Nice.
Ooh, very nice. I would love that. We'd love that. So yeah, we look forward to hearing more music. Definitely podcast. Go check her out if you are in LA area or visiting LA. Go check her out. She is, she's going to be back there soon. So we look forward to being able to. And we've talked several times, and I'm like, I wish I was out in LA right now just to go to the show because it's so fun. It sounds like a blast. So one of these days when I'm out visiting the LA area, I'm going to have to come and check out one of your shows. So for sure.
yeah,
Or you're going to have to come out to Phoenix. You're going to have to do a Phoenix show.
I'll do a tour eventually.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. For sure.
I do have to ask, being that I know I shared it and I tagged you and everything. How did you like the promo video that I put out?
Sorry? The
How
promo
did
video?
you like the promo video that I put out?
I thought it was good. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to up our game with the promo video stuff. So I've let James have total artistic freedom, and he has just come with some really great stuff. So we totally appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well,
I'm at it, and I'll keep on at it.
yep. And so we're going to. I'm sure that if you go to Instagram, you will find Queen of the Static Opera. Go follow her. Go see what's going on. She has some cool stuff. She is on YouTube. She's on Spotify. She's on Apple Music. She's anything streaming, SoundCloud. So go check her out. She is an amazing artist. We have had a blast talking to you, Melody, and getting to know you. And, we'll definitely be, as everybody who knows the Tasty Licks family, once you've interviewed with us, we will keep promoting you as much as possible. Because that's what we do. We love good music, and any genre is in our options as always. And we loved listening to your music. Definitely unique and wonderful. Any last words, James?
No, Russ in the chat says he wishes you great success as well. So people in the comments are cheering you on as well as us. So
Yep.
we
Very
do
cool.
wish our guests the best.
Yeah, we don't do this without the guests, and I'll tell you, Russ, thank you very much, and Ellie and Amanda, and I think I even saw Gary in here, so we totally appreciate everybody who comes in and visits with us. And again, we've been hitting it pretty hard on Google Ads, so this goes from it's so crazy. We have a live that maybe goes to 40, maybe 30 to 40, and then on, I put the Google ad out, and it goes to 400. By the end of the week. I'm always, or by next Tuesday, I'm sitting at 300, 400 on views. I love it. It's been so much fun. I just have to come up with creative lines to make the Google ad kind of kick. So it's been fun. So anyway, I'm going to tell you, go check her out, guys.
Check her out.
Any last words, Melody?
Bye.
Bye. Bye. See ya. And Ed James always has the last word. What's the last words, buddy?
Stay tasty.
That's a good one.
There you go. Taste tasty. We'll see you guys later.
Chocolate, fucking amazing. That's my last word.
There you go. We'll see you. We'll see y'all later. Have a good night and peace.
Bye.